it was always good to hear what's going on. What I miss?
Nothing, man. You ain't missed nothing. You
Yeah,
ain't.
it's nothing, man.
Mm.
So again, man, I'm gonna start, man. Thank y'all for taking time out of y'all busy schedule. And doing this interview, man, I definitely was impressed, with a 2 hour play with just two people. You know what I mean? That part there was just like 2 hour play with two people. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, let me see how this is gonna go. But I must say, man, y'all held my attention. Like I was there, and it was something, you know what I mean, that most people can relate to.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was dope, man.
Appreciate
It
it.
was real dope. So I'm gonna pull up these questions here. I know y'all are professionals, so we'll send the questions in advance, and I'm sure y'all kind of it'll be some of the stuff that y'all have heard before. But that the first question I want to start with, is like I said, Top Dog Underdog runs for nearly 2 hours, and with just two people on stage. So, like, what kind of stamina, mental, physically, emotionally, does that demand for each of you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because normally actors will kind of get their breath and their breaks in between other cast members going on stage.
Yeah.
You're literally on stage the whole time, and you have to kind of take your breaths and your breaks in between each other's monologue or dialogue. So,
Yeah.
like, talk about that, man, the mental capacity, the physical capacity, and emotional capacity it takes to pull something like that off.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those shows where, I definitely have to rely on, training that I've received, especially in the vocal aspect, because you're not only talking for 2 hours, but you're also talking at a heightened level for 2 hours. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to do that, for 5 shows a week takes a toll on the instrument. So having those vocal exercises, having those classes in movement and those classes in how to use your instrument have been very instrumental in just helping me maintain that volume, maintain that stamina throughout the play. But I think probably one of the most challenging things is just keeping yourself engaged throughout the whole play. I think it's often been said that acting is listening,
Mm.
and some of the best actors are those who can listen well. And so I think even though there are times where I'm not speaking, reminding myself to stay engaged in listening to the story, listening to the character of Booth and what are they talking about, is really important to keep that alive. And the reality is that the audience is still watching you, even when you're sitting there listening. They're taking their cues from you. So if I'm doing something else and not engaged in what Booth is saying, then that's going to take the audience out of it too. So that definitely becomes a challenge because you're aware of the audience there. Cell phone goes off, somebody walks in the theater late, or something drops. I'm thinking about my next cue and the light cue and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So that definitely takes some work, but it's a beautiful play and it's a beautiful challenge to be able to accept. So yeah.
Yeah, we
Mm.
actually we spoke about it a little bit, Aaron. You were just like we were just talking about how amazed we were with how the mind, the human mind works, like doing 30 different things at the same time. You're not even really noticing that you're doing it. You're
Yeah.
listening to the director, you're applying the direction, you're adding your own spice to it, you're listening to your partner, everything at the same time. And it happens in rehearsal sometimes, then it happens on stage. A cell phone goes off in rehearsal, a cell phone goes off on stage,
Right.
but and also, Aaron and I, we literally the last show we're talking about the breath and the depth that it takes. Sometimes you have to fill up the whole instrument just to get a sentence out and keep
Hmm.
the rhythm of what she's saying. Because a
Hmm.
lot of times, if you sit down and read the script, she does not have punctuations. So
Hmm.
the punctuations are maybe filled in with that breath or with that pause or with that continuation, and you can see me on stage, man. I'm a sweater. So I'm the sweater's coming down. They implemented like a little handkerchief in there so I can like do it in character, but that's real sweat.
Yeah.
You know, so and Eric knows, and he said it to me one time in rehearsal, like, you know,
Mhm.
he likes the physical acting that I do. It's not something that I came up with. That's just the type of actor that I am. So I act with the whole instrument, and that sweat is coming from a real place. So I'm thinking about that. Man, I got to get the lines out, trying to catch my breath. And me, I never really had the training, I would say, to like learn how to do that. So I'm learning a lot during this show on how to maintain my vocal stamina, because it's something that I never really had to do over a sustained period of time. So it's a challenge, but one that I'm accepting, and I'm actually liking, because I'm learning something more about myself.
Yeah, that's dope, man. So this is your first time doing like a play where it's just two people, or have y'all done this before?
I did Top Dog a little while ago, and it was two of us. We were both younger actors, but it just feels different
Yeah.
now, because I was fresh out of college. The other brother was just in college, so it was like a little experiment the school was doing. But as a professional production, yeah, man, it just feels different for
Yeah.
real.
This
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would say this is my first full length two-person show. I've done a couple of like maybe one acts and things
Short.
like that have been two people, but three was probably my lowest before this show. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's dope, man. So Eric, man, what is it like, directing a two-man cast like this? Is it easier? Is it more difficult? What is that process like?
I think it can be challenging, but at the same time, I guess with anything it has its pros and cons. you
Yeah.
know, um, it's one of the things is you only have two people to worry about, so that's kind of the easy part of it. Because when you have more actors, you can have more energy in the room, which can be
Hmm.
good, and sometimes that can be challenging. So that's the good part about it. It's like, oh, I just got two people to worry about. I was like, Lamar here, Aaron here, boom, we good. We get the whole cast. So that's the beautiful part of it. I think the great thing, one, honestly, and Rick, you asked like, how could you do it, or how could they do it?
Hmm.
Um, the material is so great. She wrote a great. So it starts with Suzan-Lori Parks' script. So I think this, to add to your question about directing, is just, and one of the things that we talked about in rehearsal, and I said, and I told them this because I had to remind myself this.
Hmm.
Um, I said, she wrote a lot that's there.
Hmm.
So some of the things that we have to watch, that we don't put something on it that it may not need, or it's like, Kenny Leon would say something like, sometimes he'd just say the words. He like, just say the words, meaning like it's already there. So I
Hmm.
think that, to me, whether you got a two-person cast or whether you got a 10-person cast, if you got a good script,
Hmm.
it's kind of the same thing. It's just like, you just got to know how to, it's almost like a band. You got to know how to direct that band. You got to know what the instrument, you got to know the music, and you got to know the type of instruments that you have to create that music. And and I got two horns right here, two two trombones, two brass
Hmm.
bands, and these dudes, they know how to play their instruments and they know the music, and that's her script. And I think, yeah, that's the thing I can say. Where it's about knowing the music of the script.
Yeah, man, because me being a student of stage plays and really understanding some of the nuances that go on behind, as I'm sitting there watching, I'm like, man, y'all really have to like y'all health. Y'all can't get sick because the chemistry that you all have. I know you have understudies. You know what I'm saying? If they need to step in, they can. But it's really like, you know what I'm saying? A lot on Lamar, a lot on Aaron. To one, just stay. I can't get a cold. I can't get sick. You know what I'm saying? Do y'all have special diets? Do y'all go to the gym? Because like I'm vegetarian
Yeah.
and I run and I'm probably gonna go to the gym when I finish this interview. But it's real important, man, that y'all maintain y'all health because of that chemistry, between the two of y'all, and it's only two people on stage. So if your understudy has to step in, now y'all still have to get that chemistry, those cues, those
Yep.
looks. You know what I'm saying? Talk about that, man. Just taking care of y'all health and being fit and making sure y'all can get on that stage, for those days that y'all are performing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely for me, hydration is key for me. They see me every day strolling with my gallon water jug. So I mean, getting in that water is key for me. I try to run a couple times a week and get in some fitness. I've been better other weeks than I have been in the past couple weeks, but yeah, but definitely, just trying to take care of the body. I think the most important thing for me is, taking care of my rest, getting proper rest, and trying to just keep that mental health in check, and my family plays a big part in that, as well as my faith, and just, keeping me mentally healthy to be able to get up day in, day out and dive deep into this show that's a heavy show, and not take too much of that, to weigh heavy on my heart, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, that physical and mental health is key.
Yeah, man. I find myself, I mean, now I drink more water during the run of this process than like I drink the first thing I do in the morning, last thing I do at night. I have small little kids, they're always, their hands are everywhere. So, to get a cold is easy. You know what I mean? So I have to watch that. I was talking to my mom earlier, and I was like, man, I haven't had a soda in months. And I have a soda here and there, but I'm like, it's certain things that I literally, as Lamar, gave up because I wanted to fill those voids with this script, with this energy, with this, because I really wanted to do this show and I wanted to give it, my all. So I'm still not the best at resting, but I'll try because I have little kids, man. So, I can't do too much. But there's definitely I put more of an emphasis on the taking care of myself, and what do you call it, like intentionally, intentionally doing things to make sure that I'm good to have the vessel ready, for these shows, because it's a lot. And then Saturdays is too. So it is a lot, but it is something, a point of emphasis for sure.
So Eric, do you have the whip out, man? No sodas, no sweets, no this. I need y'all fit. I need
No,
y'all
no, no,
in
no, no,
line.
no. No, man, I don't, like you said, I don't like Aaron, I don't have to do that. I mean, those two grown men, they do. I'm like, they know what they signed up for, is it, and it's like, I would tell them, we did laugh one time and I was like, man, this is a lot. And I would just say, you know what, but that's the gig. And I told them, here's the funny part. I understand because I actually played Lincoln a few years ago. Uh, and so I told him, I was like, I literally know what you're going through, because I was like, I've been in this show. So I was like, I know what it takes. I know it's a lot. And I'm like, yeah. I said, it takes a lot, man. I was like, y'all, I was like, but it's the gig. But nah, man, these cats, I don't have to do that. When you work with two professionals, they know how to take care of their own health. They know what to do. That's not my job. That's them. And like
Wow.
he said, and like Aaron said, he literally would come in every day with that big water. And I would ask him, I'm like, man, you drink all that?
Got to.
It's like, I need to do
That's
that.
what he said. Got to, man.
Hey, Aaron, I don't know where you're from, but you're in the South, man. So I get some well water, man. If you want some of that good well water, I got
Oh
some
yeah,
well water.
that Lithia Springs well water.
It ain't Lithia Springs. It's
No,
Lithonia. It's on this
oh,
farm,
Lithonia,
Lithonia,
yeah,
man.
You
yeah,
Yeah.
from here,
Lithia
Rick?
Springs.
Rick, where you from, man?
ATL, shout it. You don't see the hat?
yeah.
Doug High.
I
I went
can't
to school
stand
with
the
Killer
well
Mike,
water, man.
T.I.,
Oh
You
my
you
Lil
God.
you
Jon,
can have
all
that
them went to
well
the
water.
school, huh?
I said you can have that well water, man. I can't mess with that.
Man, that well water is delicious. But I want y'all to because I know I just kind of dove in with the whole 2 hour, two-man play
Mm.
question, but I want y'all to kind of give us the backstory, man. Tell us who y'all are, where y'all from, and just kind of some of the other productions y'all have been a part of. You can start, Aaron.
Well, I'm originally from Washington State, Seattle area, and I went to school in New York. I went to NYU, and I left there in '07 and came to Atlanta. So I've been here for a minute. I've been here now longer than I've lived anywhere else. So Atlanta is home now. And I was really away from the stage for quite a while. When I moved here in 2007, I was performing with a theater company called Progress Theater. And then when I stopped performing with them, I was teaching middle school. I was teaching middle school theater for years. And then I started to get back on stage before I left the classroom, doing some small community theater and things like that. But I would say like my kind of coming back party was really 2020, when I did Brother Size with Eric, at Actors Express as well. And then we got shut down by COVID. So we did 5 performances and then got shut down by COVID. So kind of had to do a little detour, and then I really got into voiceover work. So I've been doing voiceover, commercials, promos, uh, anime, those kind of things, since then. And then now is my coming back party again, getting back, getting back on stage again. So, I've really kind of been distant. I told everybody I'm a little bit of a recluse, but I pop out and have to show people every now and then, that I still got something to give. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lamar, man, that's me. I'm from New York. I got out here my first play in Atlanta was in 2019 at Horizon Theater. I did Pipeline. I had a chance to work with some great folks out there. That's why I met Eric actually back then, and we found out he was my frat brother. So Alpha Phi Alpha, got to stand up. And and I was trying to get to Atlanta for a couple of years after that. It didn't happen. Fate was so happy that my wife ended up getting a job at Morehouse School of Medicine. I'm like, all right, well, God, let's rock. I came out, and I mean, I couldn't find any work in theater. I was doing some TV and film stuff, but I'm come from theater. I've been doing that, over 20 years. So I had to get on stage. I did a show at Aurora Theater at the Kemp's Convenience just to like scratch that itch, man. But I wanted to get in the city closer. And then this became available. I remember when they announced it. I think I hit Eric up like, yo, I'm I'm a student of the process, so I'm gonna make sure and I tell them all the time. I was at that audition at 11 a.m. I didn't leave till 5 p.m. I was like, I'm gonna get seen. I don't know if I'm gonna book it, but I mean, I know in my head, I'm always gonna book it. But yeah, man, I love this project so much, wanted to do it, and then now we're here. It's my third time on the stage in Georgia, and I'm having so much fun, man, working with these brothers.
Yeah, definitely, man. Y'all do a good job on stage, man.
Thank you, bro.
Eric?
Yeah, man. Born in Detroit, Michigan, but raised in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So I'm from the South as well, right next door, T-Town. Went to Alabama A&M for undergrad, LSU for grad. Right after grad school,
film major, what? Film major, journalism?
Theater. I got a Master
major,
of Fine Arts in acting. And right after then, so it's been 20 years, man, 20 years. I graduated May 2005. So it'll be 20 years next month. And this September, I would have lived in the ATL for 20 years, man.
Wow.
So I'm like you, Aaron.
Yeah.
I would have lived here longer than anywhere else. So I got so much love for the ATL. Been here, man. Working, especially the first 10 years, I was mainly doing acting. I was acting in theaters around, done some film and TV. I'm a Georgia Lottery host. And now for the last about 10 years, this will be 10 years, I've been doing a lot more directing. I directed True Colors, Theatrical Outfit, Aurora, and this is my 4th time at Actors Express. As Aaron said, how I met this cat, actually, we met before 5 years ago. Yeah. It's a funny thing of like, we had met, like it was in some project or something we both were working on. But the funny thing is, and we might have talked, but I did not remember he was an actor.
Mm.
And then the Brother Sauce came up 5 years ago at Actors Express. And I love this story because I always love when I get surprised. And I came out and I saw him. I was like, "Oh, what's up, man?" And I was just like, "Yeah, oh, that's," and I didn't remember his name. And I was like, "Oh, that's old boy."
Mm-hmm.
And literally after I spoke to him, I'm like walking and I said, "He's an actor?" I said, "Oh, I didn't know that." So when he came in, this dude blew me away. He started acting. And then I looked at this. It's one of those moments, and Aaron and Lamar know. I heard you say you're in the business too, Rick, so you understand this too. You know how it is when you hadn't even looked at the person's resume, and then they start working, and then you start doing like this, like, let me see that
What else
resume.
he done? He got some skills. Hold on.
That's where I'm aware. I was like, he was going for this role, and I had given all of them this huge monologue to do.
Damn.
And when he opened his first couple lines in, I'm like,
hold on.
Then I said, "Oh, NYU, got it." I said, "I didn't know that." And this brother set the bar for everybody else who came in there, and nobody beat him. It was literally, I was like, "Okay, he set the bar," and I cast him. And like he said, we were so hurt. We were so hurt when the show got shut down. But I knew when this one came back, he was definitely one of the people. I told them, please reach out to Aaron. He booked it. Brother Lamar, like he said, we met 6 years ago when he was doing Pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
And I always loved too, especially as I started directing. And I would do it when I was an actor too, but definitely when I started directing, I go to a show, and if I see a new actor, I'm like, who is this dude? So same thing happened with like Aaron. It was Lamar. I said, who is this dude? Where he come from? I was like, who is Lamar? And I loved his talent. We met, bros. Stayed cool the last couple of years. And he's right. Literally, Rick, when they announced it that I was directing, I don't know if this dude was stalking the pages, but he literally hit me up before anybody else.
Yo, I wasn't playing, man.
I got the text message. I just laughed. I was
Early
like,
bird gets the worm, baby.
Yeah.
Yo, I don't feel like nobody gonna work harder than me. So even if they are, I ain't gonna feel that. So whatever.
And let me tell you about these brothers, man. And I'm gonna be done. When these cats came in to audition, they blew me away. I already knew what they could do individually, and I thought they would be a good team. When I told them, and they was like, "Who you want together?" I said, "Aaron and Lamar." I said, I got a good feeling about it. And I tell this story. I said, these cats were so good during the audition, Rick. They had tears in their eyes.
That's what I was just getting ready to go to. I was just getting ready to go to that question.
Go ahead, I'm done.
Wow, yeah, tears. So I mean, one of the things like how it ends, Lamar ends with tears. He literally cries, and I'm like, those real tears? Okay. What? So talk about like the emotional depth that you have to go to as an actor to actually stir those emotions and to actually cry every time. Like, as an upcoming actor, like, how would you tell them how to prepare or how to cry like that when you're acting every time? Because I'm sure you have to go to that same emotion, whatever that place is, to bring those tears out.
Yeah.
So talk about that, man.
Yeah, I never try to cry necessarily. I try to play the truth of the moment, whatever that moment is. And every show, we've had 10, 11 shows, 12 shows. Every show has been different. Rick, you came to a show where I cried. If you might have come the night before, you're going to leave with the same feeling, but you might not have gotten any tears. It's about the truth of the moment and the impact of what is being said and what's happening. My realization, the audience's realization of what I'm realizing in real time. Booth is realizing in real time. So I don't want to cheat the moment by going into it saying, yeah, I got to cry to get him. We're going to get him with the words and with the talent that God has blessed me with, and the direction that Eric has given. All of those things working together, you don't have to necessarily conjure up tears, but there are times when something can happen, like yesterday. It was yesterday at the 2 p.m. and it was everything was going well, but then I heard something in the audience, one of Susan's words, and I said a word. The audience member was like, literally that. It just hit me right here and took off. I feel it right now, goosebumps, everything, and then whatever happened after that happened, you know. But if that didn't come, I don't know where it would have went. I know the words. I know what you guys would have left with. They would have left with. So just don't cheat the moment. You know, live the truth of every moment. Don't try to manufacture something fake. Just live in that moment, and whatever you can live with what you do after that. You know.
Mm. You want to add something, Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, I think, he hit it right on the head. I mean, if you go into a performance thinking like, I must cry, I've got to get these tears going, you already set yourself up for failure, right? You've got to let the words guide you. You've got to be led by, the words first. I think I'm a huge proponent of leaning into the text, of leaning into the words. And the more well written a play is, the easier it is for that stuff to flow, just because you can't help but be affected. But I think the important thing for any actor is to realize that our job is to allow ourselves to be affected and to be willing to bare our souls on stage, be willing to let our hearts reveal on stage to an audience. And that can be some of the most challenging work that an actor has to do, because it is, you know, it is us on stage, right? It may come across to the audience as these characters, but I am living in this moment. I am experiencing these words, and I am allowing it to affect my heart and allowing that to be bared for the audience to see. And the willingness to do that, I think, is where you have to allow that journey to start, right? The willingness to be uncomfortable, to allow yourself to feel on stage and to listen to the words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, acting, man, I started out writing poetry, right? And
Mm.
performing on stage. You know, did the Yin Yang Cafe, Apache Cafe, like all the old school spots here in Atlanta.
Patrick.
And
Remember
that's
Pat?
really what kind of like really helped me to hone my storytelling skills, helped me to really get into character at moments, helped me as a speaker. I've had the opportunity to work with Les Brown and, really develop my signature story, you know what I'm saying? My signature message. And one of the things that he always says is tell them what you're about to tell them, and tell them what you just told them.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the story format, act one, act two, act three. You know what I mean? So saying that, I want to kind of go back to something that I think you said, Lamar, about listening. You have to really get into the art of listening. So what advice would you give like an actor or an actress about listening and different exercises or different things you can do to sharpening your listening skills? Because you're right. When you're on that stage and you're conjuring up all of those emotions, you still have to listen and respond because it's like a dance that you and Aaron have on stage. You know what I mean? So you got to be present and you got to be in that emotion, and that's so powerful.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you have to listen. So just want to unpack that for a minute. What advice would you give about listening, and what skills, what exercises, things like that they could do as an actor or actress?
One of the things I'm sure a lot of people always hear it or say, acting is reacting, right? So you want to hear what's being said to you to react in the real time, in the reality of that moment. If you already have a reaction planned, you're not listening, and that's not real life. Like you guys right now do not know what I'm about to say, but if I say something wild, I will see a reaction in real time of you guys. So as close as you can get to reality in that world, that's what you should strive for. To me, that's what I'm always striving for, because to me that's what's more relatable to the audience member, and then they'll have an even better experience. The second thing to me I would say is the listening. Oh my gosh, it was one more thing. I can't remember it, but
You can come back to it if you think about it.
yeah.
Yeah. You want
Yeah,
to
I mean,
share
I
something,
think
Aaron?
for For me, in a technical sense, I mean, I trained in school, I guess, with, Meisner technique, Sanford Meisner. And Sanford Meisner has a quote of, acting is behaving truthfully under imaginary circumstances. I think as an actor, when you go into a performance and you're just thinking about yourself, it's going to be really hard to behave truthfully in those imaginary circumstances. Because in life, we're not really conscious of ourselves when we're having these conversations with people. We're just having this conversation and reacting to what somebody is giving us. But as soon as I turn my attention on solely myself, then I'm not listening any longer. I'm just worried about like what I'm doing, right? So that's one. But there's an exercise that they do in Meisner called repetition, and it's about really putting your attention on the other person and just repeating back what the other person is saying. So you're not really thinking about words, you're just thinking about repeating back what the other person is saying. And then as it progresses, you move on to just like noticing things about what people are doing. I see you nodding your head. I notice you touched your glasses. All those kind of things. You just start reacting to what you see. And that really is just it starts to get you to take the attention off of yourself and onto your scene partner, on the other person, so that you can really start to get out of your head.
Wow. I like that. Eric, any exercises you want to share that relates to listening?
One of the ones I was going to say, Aaron just said about the listening exercise.
Mm-hmm.
I think definitely it's the mindset. These brothers, I wholeheartedly agree with both of them. One of the things, I can't remember if I said earlier or not, but Rick, I'm also a professor of theater at Clark Atlanta.
Okay.
And one of the things, that I try to remember to tell my students is if you want to be interesting, be interested. If you want to be interesting, be interested. You got to be interested in your scene partner. You got to be interested in what's going on. And the more, and it's kind of connected to what Aaron was saying, the more you are interested in your scene partner, that will make you want to listen more. And as Lamar was saying, then you don't have to manufacture behavior. You don't have to manufacture what you're going to do. It just, you listen. Listen. Honestly, listening actually can make acting easier. Yeah. It really can. Because sometimes, if, like you said, you're just trying to do, and it's like, just listen. But people, we don't listen. And young actors, we were all young actors before, so we understand that thing. You just want to be like, man, I just want to do. And it's like, but you're not listening.
Yeah.
You're doing without listening. And just listen. Yeah. And do it. And I love when I've always loved that definition, Meisner definition of acting truthfully under imaginary circumstances. It's like acting is doing. And I think if you do it, like you can't, and thinking about this too, listening is a choice. Hearing is involuntary. If we all are blessed to be able to hear, if a noise comes outside the door, wherever we all are right now, we're not choosing to hear it. We hear it because God blessed us to hear. You all are listening to me right now because you choose to listen. Yeah. So the thing is, you got to choose to listen. You never like listening. That's a choice. Make the choice to listen.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I like that. Did you think about what you was gonna say, Lamar?
Oh yeah. It was the last thing. It was something that I learned from. I was doing this Greek tragedy play, and like heightened language, like the Shakespeare's and the Augusts and all of them cats, So what the director told me, he was literally read the words off the page out loud as much as you can, because you could be saying a line over and over or listening to someone say a line over and over the wrong way so much that because you think you're saying it so fluently, so well, but go back and read literally out loud, read the words off the page, hear how they sound. It could be one word that you're missing that's totally changing the rhythm of everything you're saying, that will change it to the ear of your partner because they read it the right way. You're saying it how you think it's supposed to be said. So as much as you can, read the words off the page out loud and hear it, That helps me a lot, especially with Suzan-Lori Parks. Like you never know. You miss one word, it's over. We on three pages later, or you add one word, we 3 pages later. Literally, like that's just how it goes, man.
And honestly, listening is a big part of directing. I ask myself the simple questions like directing. What do I see? What do I hear? You know, what am I listening? What am I hearing? What do I feel? But if I'm hearing something different, if I'm, you know, as I'm listening, and as Lamar is saying, sometimes even if I'm not looking at the script, if I heard it a lot, I can sometimes I'm writing notes and I go, and I might ask them, I said, let me see that script.
Yeah.
Because I was like, something hit my ear differently.
Yeah.
And I'm listening. And like you said, it's because that thing and something's like, that's different. Yeah. And sometimes it could be because they said it a different way. And it could be like, oh, that's right. Or, and like Lamar said too, and I've done this as an actor. You've been saying it wrong, and then you look back at the script and you say it right.
Right.
So the change is not necessarily a wrong thing. Is now they're actually saying the right thing. So they're like, oh, you're saying it right now. It's like, yeah, I was saying it wrong.
Yeah, no, that's dope, man. I think listening is definitely the art, or one of the arts of acting, directing, you know, being in these productions. But I also think, you know, being able to play in that world of imagination, you know, like Tyler Perry says, when he was abused so much that he had to live in that world of imagination, and now he still lives there. Do you think it's an advantage, like, to have to live in that world of imagination, or to go through certain things in life that you don't really want to deal with reality? Do you think that helps an actor or actress, or do you think it's really just being a student of the craft?
I would never want to say that I think I guess trauma gives someone an advantage. I can see how it could, you know, affect the art, or, you know, in positively or negatively, or just want to make you just live in a different world, you know, imaginarily. But no, man, I don't. I just think being a student of the game is the way to longevity, the way to success, the way to, you know, just to be happy with what you're doing in life. And whatever the game is, whatever the craft is, be a student of it, and you're going to get the most out of it.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think everybody finds a different process and a different way into this thing. I don't necessarily subscribe to the belief that there's only one way to do this thing. There's just the way that works for you. But I think on the face of it, I think you definitely have to be open, open to be affected, willing to play, willing to explore. And I think, you know, it automatic, you know, I used to teach middle school, so I'd always tell them, you know, creativity, imagination, play automatically comes easier for you because you're at this stage in life where you're not necessarily as worried about what people are going to say or think. But middle school is interesting because they're in that transitionary period of like, now I'm starting to be more conscious of my body, aware of what people think about me and look at me, right? And so as adults, when we've been so far removed from those play muscles being turned off because we're now aware of like, well, I just can't walk into Kroger and just be rolling on the floor and jumping up and down and stuff like maybe my little kids might do. You know, now I'm more aware and conscious of myself. And so now it's a process of removing that self-consciousness, removing that awareness, and being willing to be open to change, being willing to be open to play, in order for those, you know, for that creativity to manifest itself. But yeah, how you get there, I think is a journey that everybody's got to discover.
You got anything, Eric?
Yeah, just real quick, wholeheartedly agree. I think it's the journey of learning how to navigate the emotions and balancing your real life experiences and what you use to create or how you use that. Because what can happen sometimes, if you are not healed properly or you don't know how to navigate or manage those emotions, then one, it can make your creativity muddy, and or it can make it mentally and psychologically not healthy for you.
What do you mean by it
So
can make your creativity muddy? Like, what do you?
because it's like if you get so deep into your own personal experiences and you bring it all to the work, then sometimes it's muddy because we don't know what is helpful to create this work and what is you just getting out or working out those feelings. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes if you put everything into it, it might not be right because it's like to use another analogy. I had a lighting designer that I worked with the last time I was at Actors Express, and he would always say it's the cooking process. He would always say it's cooking, we cooking. Every time we might shift something, he said we just cooking, and it's like putting everything in your cabinet into a soup. If you put everything in it and you don't know what, it may not be good. So it's like you got to know what to put in, what to leave out.
Yeah.
And honestly, too, this is the thing about it too. And I tried to find out how to use this more as an actor myself, and even when I teach this. If some people go through some really bad experiences, and think about this, and if they have not fully healed, and then you try to have them tap into that, one or two things are a lot can happen. One, like I said, it might not be healthy for them. So they might be like, oh, I'm giving you this great performance, but when I walk away, I feel horrible. So it's like my professional life is going well, but my personal life is not. Or number two, if you don't know how to manage it properly, it's inconsistent. One night, if I'm doing a show and I can properly go to this place that is emotional and all this, and it's like, it's great. And then the next night, it's like, I can't go there. And it's usually, and I'll say this real quick. This happened to me years ago. My grandmother had passed away. She was passing away. She was real sick with cancer. And I remember going in to see her, and it did something to me. She was still alive, but she was at the end. And I had to go to an audition. And I had this moment where the character is supposed to be really emotional and doing all this stuff. And the thing is, the character didn't cry, but I did enough that when I looked up, when I was in an audition, it was just me and the director. And I'm sitting over there and I saw my grandmother and I just put it in my head and I said the words. When I looked over, the director was crying. And I was like, wow, okay, it worked. Well, months later, I booked the show. Well, grandmama had passed. We had buried her, and I'm healing. So I remember still trying to do it later, and I couldn't go there because I didn't want to go there because I'm like, I'm healing or I'm doing better. And I remember literally saying it one day because it was actually during a performance, and I came off that night and said, it's not working anymore. And I had to go somewhere else. And I just said, I gotta do something else because that's not working.
Wow.
That's real.
Man, acting, performance. I mean, it's so amazing, man. It's just an energy, a nowness, a presence of now that you really can't explain and really put in words. And, just to be able to tap into those energies, into those emotions, man, it's like, that's why I love filmmaking and, stage plays, storytelling,
Yeah.
because, it's something that you can't put in words. And when you have those people that you lose and it bring up certain emotions and you're healing from that, it's just such a real thing, man. So when you look at like, Topdog, Underdog, it explores the themes of identity, brotherhood, survival. You know what I'm saying? It's challenging, you know, to embody that, but like, what would you say is the most challenging aspect of embodying either Lincoln or Booth, when y'all are on stage?
Mm.
A lot of the on stage stuff to me is, I mean, it's fun, man. A lot of the things happen off stage. Like when yesterday we had a talk back, and after the talk back, the associate artistic director Amanda, she came up to me and she asked me, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's going on?" She said, "When you came down to the talk back, you sat down, you looked a little sad." I was like, "I did. I didn't even feel that energy still on me."
Mm.
But and this was we had 10 minutes after to get dressed. We had like a 20-minute talk back. So
Yeah.
this is a half hour after, and she saw an energy on me that I didn't even know was still there from the show. I thought I was feeling okay, but again, I gotta sit in my car. I gotta recalibrate from after whatever it is. Then I gotta go home, get right to come up, be the family man. So that those are the challenges that I've been facing, and there's nothing wrong with that. I know what it is coming into it.
Yeah.
But I also have to be intentional about attacking it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would think along the same lines is, when you're in a show that tackles deep emotion, deep trauma, where the characters are going through quite a bit, it's inevitable that you are carrying some of that with you. So, coming up with ways to make sure that you can shed that is really important. But I think for me, it's also, even though it can be something that's challenging, it's also something that I willingly embrace because it's my way to tap into the human experience and to tap into what what this life is about and what God has blessed us with. It's my way of interrogating that and thinking through that. So I also embrace it in that way because it allows me to just tap into those emotions and think about like what is this thing called life that we're all experiencing. You know what I mean? So it's a maybe a blessing and a curse to be able to tackle some of these issues.
Yeah, wow. And man, in conclusion, what is that one thing that you don't mind sharing that you've learned throughout your career that you feel can really be helpful to that director, to that actor that's, on their way up? They may be 2021, and it's something that, you learn over the course of your career that you're like, this thing right here, if you get this,
Mm.
like this could really help to catapult you to that stardom level.
I mean, I don't really. I try to simplify a lot of things, man, because I mean we could say take this from here that and get I could give something real, you know, nah. Good things happen to good people, man. That's the best advice literally that I've got from my mentor of 10, 20 plus years. Like, just be a good person. I mean, if whatever's going to happen in your career for you is already predestined. And this is just what the perspective I'm coming from. Good things happen to good people. I met Eric 6 years ago. I could have been a jerk to Eric. I could, even frat brother or not, I could have been like, oh yeah, thanks for. I didn't have to keep in contact, but that relationship that was formed over these last 6 years led to this right here, just for being a good person. He was a good person to me, and so was I to him. Every occasion we met. I met Aaron in the hallway. I didn't know the brother. We were both coming into audition. Could have been for the same role, which is my competition. But I'm just like, yo, I felt the energy, and we talked. He was a good person. I feel like I'm a good person, and now we're here on this journey again together. Just don't let that get away from you, man. Good things happen to good people. Good people are still around. Like, you don't have to do anything far fetched to have success in this industry, man. Just be a good person, and everything will come to you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, I definitely wholeheartedly agree with that. I think, in this industry in particular, in this day and age we're in, there is a strong desire for, this thing called fame or this level of success that may look like, you know, driving Ferraris and what clothes you got and what party you got invited to and things like that. So, I mean, one, I would always challenge somebody to create what their definition of success, irregardless of what other people may say or what we see success appear to look like on Instagram, one, right? And then two, um, to enjoy the journey, to enjoy the process. I'm a firm believer, that, whatever is for you is not going to miss you. So don't, why worry about it? Why stress about it? But, you don't want to lose out on those individual moments of the process of your journey, because that's what's going to keep you true to yourself. That's what's going to keep you true to your craft. And that's more important than whatever element of success you think, other people might want to see. So enjoy that process and enjoy that journey.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I wholeheartedly agree with my brothers, and mine is right, very close to what Aaron said. I would just say, be present wherever you are on your journey. Be present in that moment. Be present in that place. And I really thought about it, Rick, when you said, like, what have we learned? I thought about it. I was like, I really have learned that, and I try to remind myself of that, because sort of like what Aaron was saying too, and especially in this business, we're always trying to seek to do more. We're always trying to do this. We're always trying to do that and all this, which is nothing wrong with seeking for more, but be present where you are, because you're learning something wherever you are. And then also being present, I think, as young actors, young artists, to remember wherever you are and whatever you have and whatever experiences you have gone through,
Mm-hmm.
use those and know that you have enough in your toolbox, whatever, to be creative. And I think sometimes, we're, as actors, especially, you're the instrument. It starts with you. It starts with who you are as a person. It starts with your own experiences. So you got to be present right there, to know how to use it for wherever you are, for whatever project you're working on. Be present wherever you are. And that in and of itself will get you to more growth.
Mm-hmm.
This is connected, but it's sort of different too. It's something that hit me. And I think really, really, because I understand it when I look, there's this this quote where it says, I think it's Kierkegaard or something like this. And I'm paraphrasing. We live like forward, but life is lived forward, but understood backwards. It's like life is lived forward, but understood backwards, or something like that. And when I think back to like my time in grad school and all the struggles and stuff that I had, my greatest growth and my greatest pain came when nobody else was around.
Mm-hmm.
My greatest growth and my greatest pain came when nobody else was around.
Mm.
Because if I struggled that day in class or whatever happened, and I felt like I didn't belong there, with all these people at this big PWI, and I'm coming from this HBCU, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm trying to get this master's degree, and they telling me this and they telling me that, and so I would go home and you crying by yourself and you're doing all this and all that. That was pain that nobody else was around to see.
Mm.
But then, like Aaron said, I know God was also working on me, because something would also get up in me, and I worked harder when no one else was around. I remember my classmate, he would go in and go to sleep. We would have We would have acting class from like 1 to 3. And when we got home, sometimes he would go to sleep. He was good. After we had just had a 2-hour acting class, while he was sleeping, I would go back in my room, turn my phone off, turn my TV off, and continue working for another hour or two. That's where my growth came from, when nobody was around.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. This was good, man. I definitely appreciate can we get the word out? Appreciate y'all words, man. Why should people come see the play? Like, what are they gonna take away, when they come see Top Dog, Underdog?
A full experience, man.
Yeah.
Laughter, joy, pain, all of it. A full experience.
That's it.
I'm about to say he put it well. That's it.
You're right. You do go on a emotional roller coaster with the rides, man. So yeah, it was good, man. I thought Grace was gonna come out on stage, man. I was like, we got another person.
You never know. You never know.
You know what I'm saying? The anticipation, and then you like, it's 1 o'clock, it's 3 o'clock. Grace ain't coming.
4 o'clock.
Right. You know what blows my mind is people who can recall the show after it's done. I'm like, it's so much happening, and you can recall specific moments. It's just it blows my mind, man. People literally like to act scene 1. Like, you remember that after everything else happened. You remember that?
Because it made an impression on my emotions. It made an impression, like the emotion that I felt at that moment, it stayed with me. You know what I'm saying? So man, share y'all Instagram, or how people can contact y'all and follow y'all, what y'all are doing. Cause man, I definitely salute y'all, man. Y'all doing some amazing things, in this world of, stage play, acting, productions, you know what I'm saying? Doing some amazing things, man. So how can people follow y'all and what y'all are doing?
I'm on Instagram at Aaron S. Goodson. Website is aaronsgoodson.com. And yeah.
No doubt.
I'm on Instagram and Facebook as well, Lamar K. Cheston, and lamarkcheston.com. Check it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Facebook, Eric J. Little. Instagram, I am EJ Little.
Hey, I can tell y'all professionals because y'all did not stray away from the name that y'all have. So I bet that's the same thing on all platforms. It's Lamar K. Cheston on all platforms. It's
consistency.
Little, all platforms. So actors, people that are in production, make it easy for people to find you, because you come up with these elaborate names and I'd be like, who can say that? How do you spell that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to think about these things when you're marketing and branding yourself.
Yeah.
100%.
Keep a little shorty 404 for the family, man.
Say what? What'd you say?
I said keep that little shorty 404 handle for the family, man.
Right.
For the
Yeah,
like
199.
Make it simple.
Yeah.
And that's the mindset I've had since before anything. I always wanted to just simple across the board. Like,
keep it simple.
It's my name. Brand that. Damn it. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's what you got to do, man. So again, thank y'all for your time, man. I'll definitely share the article with you all. That'll be in Rolling Out, as well as the video that we'll post on Rolling Out and on some of the social media platforms. So yeah,
sure.
Good, man. Great information for for the arts.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Love.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah,
Peace.
man.
All right, peace.
All right.